IA for asking for a paternity test after my wife gave birth and our baby's complexion surprised me? Hi Reddit, this is a really hard story for me to share, but I need an outside perspective because I'm honestly feeling torn apart right now. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. We're both in our early 30s. We come from different ethnic backgrounds. I'm Caucasian and she's of mixed Hispanic and indigenous heritage. We've always been open and proud of our diverse family, and honestly, I've loved learning about her culture and traditions. About 2 weeks ago we welcomed our first child, a son. The birth itself was incredible and emotional. Honestly, one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Since then, I've been doing my best to be a supportive partner and new dad. But here's where things get complicated. When our son was born, I noticed immediately that his skin tone was significantly darker than either of us expected. Given my pale skin and my wife's lighter brown complexion, the baby's rich brown skin tone surprised me. At first, I tried to brush it off. I know genetics are complicated and sometimes skip generations or express in unexpected ways. Still, I couldn't shake this feeling of confusion. I sat with my wife one evening, trying to approach it carefully. I said, "Hey, I've been thinking about something and I don't want you to get upset. Our baby's skin tone is darker than I imagined, and it's been on my mind. I guess I'm just confused, and maybe it's because I don't understand how genetics work fully." I tried to be gentle. She looked at me, hurt flashing in her eyes. "Are you saying you don't believe the baby is yours?" she asked quietly, voice trembling. No, I'm not saying that. I love our son and I trust you. I'm confused and a little scared because this is all new to me," I explained. She was quiet for a moment, then said, "This feels like you're accusing me of something. Like you think I was unfaithful." That wasn't my intention at all, but I could see how it hurt her deeply. After a few days of this tension, I made a decision I still struggle with. I asked if she would consider doing a paternity test. I thought it might help clear my mind and put my doubts to rest so we could move forward as a family without this cloud hanging over us. The reaction was worse than I expected. She was furious and devastated. "How could you even ask that? After everything we've been through? It's humiliating. You're telling me you don't trust me or love me." She cried for hours. I felt terrible but also stuck. I'm terrified of losing her or damaging our marriage, but I also don't want to ignore this gut feeling that's been eating at me. I've tried talking to friends, but it's so personal and complicated I don't want to put our family business out there. I know asking for a paternity test sounds harsh and maybe unreasonable, but I'm at my wit's end. So Reddit, AITA for asking for a paternity test after our baby's complexion surprised me? Or am I justified in needing some reassurance before moving forward? Update on the paternity test situation, where we are now. Hey Reddit. I wanted to post an update because so many of you asked how things have been since my last post. Honestly, the past few weeks have been some of the most difficult of my life, and I'm still sorting through everything. After a long and emotional conversation, honestly, many tears on both sides, my wife agreed to take the paternity test. She said it was incredibly painful for her, but she wanted to prove to me that our son is ours and to try to heal the damage the doubt caused. We did the test through a private lab, which took about a week to get results back. When we finally got the report, it showed a 99.99% probability that I am the biological father. Hearing that was a huge relief, but also brought a complicated mix of emotions. I was glad to know the truth, but I also felt shame and guilt for putting my wife through that pain and doubting her. We've had to talk a lot, and I mean a lot, about trust, insecurity, and how this affected our marriage. She told me how deeply hurt and humiliated she felt by my request. I apologized repeatedly, acknowledging that while my feelings were confusing and real, the way I handled them was wrong. She also shared her own fears and vulnerabilities. Apparently, there have been some unresolved issues from her past that I wasn't fully aware of, things about her family and previous relationships that made her sensitive to trust and loyalty. I've been trying to listen without getting defensive, and I think that's helped a little. We're also seeing a couples therapist to work through the lingering hurt and rebuild our connection. Trust is fragile but can be rebuilt. This experience taught me just how easily trust can be shaken and how much work it takes to rebuild it. Communication is everything. I realized I needed to be more open about my fears without making my wife feel attacked or accused. Genetics can be surprising. I've spent a lot of time learning about genetics and how traits can skip generations or combine unpredictably. Love isn't just about biology. Even before the test, I loved my son and wife. That love has to be the foundation moving forward. We're far from perfect right now, but I think we want to fight for our family. The baby brings so much joy despite the turmoil. My wife and I are committed to working on our relationship and healing the wounds that this situation exposed. I know some of you will still judge me for asking for the test. I get it. I don't want to excuse my actions. I only hope you understand that it came from confusion and fear, not malice. Thanks for listening and for those who offered support and tough love. It means more than I can say. Final update, reflecting on everything, learning to rebuild trust and love in our family. Hey Reddit. It's been a few months since my last update, and after a lot of thought and reflection, I wanted to share where we are now, both as a family and as individuals. Looking back, this whole experience has been one of the most challenging, humbling, and eye-opening chapters of my life. When I first noticed our son's skin tone and asked for a paternity test, I was scared, confused, and overwhelmed by emotions I didn't fully understand. I realize now that beneath it all was a deep insecurity and fear of the unknown, not just about the baby but about the future of my marriage and my role as a father. Receiving the paternity test results was a huge relief. It confirmed what I hoped and what my wife had always said. But even with that relief came a tidal wave of guilt and shame for doubting my wife, someone I love deeply. The way I handled my feelings caused her pain and made her question the foundation of our relationship. Since then, we have committed to a lot of hard work. We started couples therapy, which opened up conversations we hadn't had before. We explored how trust works in our relationship, how past experiences and personal insecurities can cloud our judgment, and how important open, compassionate communication really is. Therapy hasn't magically fixed everything, but it's given us tools to listen better, to be more patient with each other's vulnerabilities, and to heal the wounds that my request for a test exposed. One of the biggest lessons I learned is how genetics are complex and unpredictable. I read extensively about how traits like skin color can skip generations or come from ancestors we never even knew about. It's fascinating and helped me realize how little I actually understood about something so fundamental. Our son's complexion, which initially sparked my doubts, is now something I celebrate as part of his unique identity, a blend of both of us and the generations before. It's a beautiful reminder that family is about more than just appearances. Today our son is healthy, happy, and growing fast. He's the joy and center of our world. The love I feel for him is unconditional and strong, and I'm committed to being the best dad I can be. My wife and I are working on rebuilding trust day by day. It's not always easy, and sometimes old fears creep back in, but we face those moments together. We're learning to be vulnerable without fear, to forgive without forgetting, and to love with intention. If you're reading this and facing doubts or fears in your relationship, here's what I want to say. It's okay to feel scared or confused, but how you handle those feelings matters. Approach your partner with empathy and honesty, not accusation. Trust is fragile but resilient. It can be broken, but with effort, it can also be rebuilt stronger. Don't underestimate the power of communication and therapy. Sometimes professional help is what it takes to move through the hardest parts. Family is so much more than biology or appearances. Love, commitment, and respect are the real foundation. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read my story, offer advice, and share your own experiences. This community helped me feel less isolated in my struggles and gave me courage to face a painful reality. I'm hopeful for the future, for my marriage, for my son, and for myself. This journey has been messy and painful, but it has also been deeply transformative. Here's to growth, healing, and the imperfect but beautiful journey of family. Unexpected update. I didn't plan to post again, but I need to get this off my chest. Hey Reddit. I honestly didn't think I'd be back here sharing more about this. After my last update, I really thought we were on the path to healing and that I could finally close this chapter in my mind and heart. But some feelings I didn't expect have come up, and they've been haunting me more than I thought possible. So here I am, needing to say something even though I wasn't planning to. Even with the paternity test results confirming my son is biologically mine, I carry a deep, gnawing guilt over how I approached this whole situation. I keep replaying moments where I doubtfully questioned my wife, moments when my words hurt her deeply. I feel like I nearly destroyed something incredibly precious. It's been really hard to forgive myself. I know logically that my feelings came from confusion and fear, not malice, but that doesn't make the pain I caused any less real. I see the strength in my wife's willingness to try and heal, but sometimes I wonder if those wounds will ever completely fade. I'm terrified that the damage I caused might come back to haunt us in the future. Even though we're actively working on our relationship and things are better than before, I catch myself slipping into doubt again. Sometimes it's something small, maybe a new trait our son shows or just a fleeting thought, and suddenly my mind spirals into suspicion. I hate that this is happening because I want to trust completely. I want to believe in the family we're building. This ongoing internal struggle makes me feel broken sometimes, like I'm fighting an invisible war inside my own head. It's exhausting and painful, but I'm trying hard not to let it define me or destroy the love I have for my wife and son. I didn't want to come back to Reddit with more drama, but I realized I'm not alone in feeling lost, scared, and flawed, even after doing what seemed like the right thing. Healing isn't neat or straightforward. It's messy, non-linear, and can bring unexpected setbacks. Putting these feelings into words here helps me process them. It reminds me that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's a part of being human, imperfect, scared, but still willing to try. If you're struggling with doubt, fear, or guilt in your relationship or family, please know you're not alone. These feelings don't make you a bad person, but they do mean you need kindness, especially from yourself. Reach out for help. Talk openly with your partner. Find support from friends, family, or professionals. And most of all, be gentle with yourself and those you love. Healing takes time, and it's okay to stumble. Thanks for reading again. I'm hopeful that with time, patience, and love, this painful chapter will become part of a bigger story of growth and peace.